Muy buenas chavales, bienvenidos y bienvenidas a otro vídeo para el canal. ¿Qué tal chicos? ¿Qué tal es inicio de semanitas? Espero que estéis teniendo un inicio de semana de putísima madre. Si estáis comiendo, cenando, desayunando, comiéndoos un buen nepe, que os aprovechen muchísimo mientras veis el vídeo. Aunque si estáis en eso último deberéis haceros de mirar porque tenéis problemas muy serios. Y nada, otra vez volvemos a la DBDLeague, tan querida por todos, donde aprendemos de la hostia y vemos a jugadores muy grandes. Esto no es Anime Invierno 2025, me lo tengo que ver. y nada, en el partido de hoy vamos a ver, creo que es el primer partido de Calamity que vemos. Calamity es un equipo ruso, son para mí de los top 3, top 4 equipos de la DBDLeague. En este caso vamos a ver el partido contra Kitchaze, que es un equipo nuevo en la DBDLeague. La verdad es que no los conozco de absolutamente nada, pero bueno, si han llegado a la DBDLeague significa que tienen un muy buen nivel. Pero bueno, al final que están contra Calamity, que os digo, para mí es top 3, top 4 equipos de la DBDLeague y que vamos, que son muy, pero que muy buenos. Y en el partido de hoy van a jugar, ya sabéis que es al mejor de 3, hay que ganar 2 partidos y el primer partido es Espíritu, que ya lo vemos en pantalla. Segundo partido es Artista y el tercer partido, si es que lo hay, ¿vale? Ya sabéis que el tercer partido es desempate, si hay un 2-0, pues el tercer partido no lo vemos, es de lo desconocido, ¿vale? Primer partido Espíritu, segundo partido Artista y tercer partido, si es que lo hay, lo desconocido. Ojalá que lo haya, ojalá. Yo ya sé el resultado, pero bueno, yo no os voy a hacer spoilers para que quien quiera disfrutar del vídeo lo disfrute hasta el final. Pero bueno, vamos con Espíritu. Se juega en pantano, que bastante curioso. Pantano, para que lo sepáis, ¿vale? Las pisadas suenan muchísimo, ¿vale? Hay ciertos mapas donde las pisadas suenan más que otros, ¿vale? Y en pantano suenan una locura, ¿vale? O sea, no os hacéis una idea. Si jugáis Espíritu y queréis jugar en un mapa muy favorable para vosotros, jugar pantano. Aparte de que hay pocos palets. Las pisadas suenan muchísimo en el barro, por así decirlo, barro entre comillas, ¿vale? Así que, bueno, es un mapa eso súper favorable para el Espíritu, donde debería hacer bastantes cuelgues, ¿vale? Y bueno, y si la juega muy bien, hacerse 4K o 3K. Pero bueno, vamos a ver qué tal lo hacen, a ver si hay palizas, si no hay palizas y nada. En este caso el espíritu se llama Neko, el main killer de Kitchaze o Kitchaze, no sé cómo se pronunciará. Va con velocidad de recarga y velocidad, para mí los dos mejores addons de espíritu. Yo siempre juego con estos dos addons, la verdad, porque el addon este verde lo buffaron hace meses y está muy pepino, sinceramente. Recuperas el poder en 22 segundos, si no recuerdo mal. El poder de base de espíritu son 30 segundos, pues con esto pasan a ser 22, o sea, está que te cagas. Y luego lleva intervención corrupta, ruina, agitación y erupción. Interesante, yo en intervención corrupta y ruina no los tendría al unísono, porque siempre lo digo, ¿vale? Si tenéis intervención corrupta, hay más probabilidad de que os encuentren el tótem de ruina. También es cierto que en este mapa en pantano es difícil encontrar tótems de maleficio, es complicado, a no ser que lleven build con alguna pérdida de tótems y tal, suele ser complicado, pero bueno, os digo, en regla general, intervención corrupta de ruina no lo llevéis, ¿vale? Porque es más fácil que os encuentre la ruina. Y agitación, muy buena perk para poder tú decir, vale, voy a colgar en este trigen y poder zonear a gusto. Es una perk muy infravalorada, pero que es muy buena, ¿vale? En altos niveles. Y erupción, pues eso, muy buena perk también. Pegas patadas, luego tiras a la gente y aparte ves auras aparte de bajar los motores. Esta cuando te quitan ruina, obviamente, porque si no, erupción no puedes usarla. Y no, una muy equilibrada. Veremos a ver qué tal lo juega el señor Neko. Vamos para allá.
A pantry is coming out for Kitchaze's killer pick. Rocket O behind it, Oscar, I do imagine might be a little bit confused because I don't remember any tournament that had the spirit on the Grim Pantry, at least not one that I was involved in. Though I do understand it, right? These soggy footsteps, you could say, here throughout the swamp based on the environment are definitely something that you can take advantage of. You have a lot of grass as well.
Muy close, Una putada, ha sido pocardos, la verdad.
That is going to help you. Obviously it applies the other way around, but here we have the first example of why our players need to be very careful with the ping.
Ya le he encontrado ruina, fijaros, fijaros.
That as a ping enjoyer myself, I can personally relate to this. Playing on high.
Aquí mal jugado por la Espíritu, debería haberla escuchado.
Ping is like a completely different game. The decision making you have to make, the way that you play 50-50s, the way you play pallets and even TLs right here, you need to be a lot
Muy bien jugado aquí por el superviviente. Aquí mal jugado por la... Mejor dicho, mal jugado por el killer. Porque si usas bien el poder y te pones en su...
more decisive with your choices and make them before even the killer has made their move. So it is
Ahora muy bien. Just hit.
quite risky and very, very stress-inducing and sometimes rage-inducing. But we get our second tag here from Nico onto Oscar, taking the chase back over to the shack with no pallet. As we're running around, we do have a very safe filler that spawns next to shack.
Muy bien, el superviviente posiblemente se la juega mucho al ir por izquierda, porque la Espíritu llega a ir hacia adelante y hacia atrás. Quizá la daba aquí. Yo si hubiese superviviente me quedaba aquí y saltaba si veía que el Espíritu me venía.
Occasionally, I think it's not guaranteed, but there normally is a very strong filler
No sé por qué no he ido hacia la ventana.
next to the Grim Pantry shack.
No llega nada, no llega.
Yeah, very unfortunate here for Oscar, who has to reach this TNL,
Aquí solamente he ido a la ventana y intentar usarla.
but won't make it successfully. First down is coming through. Ruin
Por de estos cuatro, a Oscar no le conozco. Hein, Obi, Rocket son los tres jodidamente buenos. Oscar no le conozco, pero bueno, si está ahí será que es muy bueno también.
not doing too much of work just yet,
Va con chungo y queda equilibrado.
as our spirit is not able
Qué pena que no he encontrado ninguna colina para su queda equilibrado, la verdad.
so far to injury multiple survivors. Interesting skill check that we are seeing here on the side of Calamity. I hope they don't look like Merciless Storm for a second, and I was confused because the generators are not quite where we want to have them yet, but as the survivors
Buah, en sótano. Ese superviviente está bien jodido.
are attacking these generators individually, and we have multiple gens
Vaya skin me lleva el calvo.
above the 60% mark. I do feel like they can be very happy with the result they have so far. But here, just for a short glimpse, we saw what Hex Ruin is capable of. If Neko is playing this correctly, guarding this hook stage a little bit, potentially turning it into a trade, while forcing pressure onto these gens, then we might be able to slow down the Survivor team by just a chunk, and that's also an injury onto Hein now.
Yeah, but we're going to be seeing Deliverance getting active as
Qué mal, que raro se ve el mapa, ¿no? Se ve como muy filtrado.
well, and we see the spectator bug once again from killers that have a teleport ability, so no, your computer
La ha curado con lo conseguiremos y creo que Oscar llevaba la de... No me fijo antes, pero lleva la de que cuando te sales del gancho estás con un... La bufaron con un 70% curado, me parece.
is not having a moment, it's just the spectator bug, don't worry. But we have Deliverance getting activated onto OB, and a very quick reset as well will make it, I believe we saw coming out. Our survivors are aware of the ruin spawn, and that will make it with Deliverance just to get that heal extra quick to make sure that Deliverance gets active. It's a really nice play from the survivor side.
El chungo muy malo, la verdad, muy malo.
Good stuff, Calamity! Oh, that dead hand is not going to be coming through as Oscar's going to be going down once again by the main building.
Yeah, and this
Quiere centrar el cuelgue, que aquí llega, ¿vale? Con agitación va a llegar, para poder tener estos tres motores más o menos pilotándolos.
That hard might look like Oscar
Para esta agitación es muy buena. Es brutal esta perk.
completely mistimed it, yet I totally understand why he pressed it so early. With 200 milliseconds, you really want to make sure, or you are relying on prediction a little bit, so it's understandable that he was expecting the killer to
Bueno, y para eso tiene erupción ahora, para cuando nos ha ido a ruina.
immediately pull the swing after coming out of the phase there. Obi still injured. This is usually telling us that they are prioritizing the generators and they want to get some pressure in. Rocket, our healthy ace, is going to approach the hook a little bit closer. Calamity doing a good job here, keeping all available survivors in the trial, trying to increase the pressure and efficiency on the gens as much as possible, though
La ha metido por los demás.
it is clear that Oscar is the target for the tunnel out, and as sooner you remove him from the hook, the sooner the survivor can be tunneled out. For the people here is going to do a little bit of an extra time. Neko now with the difficult decision. Do you move away from the active generators to prioritize your tunnel out, or are you going back to defend? The decision is clear, as Oscar has been hunted across the Grim Pantry for quite some time now. Is there something in reach? That's the big question for Calamity here. There's a pallet. It should be enough distance. Oscar just holding W, being confident that he can reach this pallet instead. And this man on 200 milliseconds. Wow.
Muy mal jugado aquí por Oscar. O sea, lo ha hecho muy bien eso de los paredes de tirar para adelante, pero se lo ha jugado muchísimo. la verdad. Quería usar el chungo, pero aquí el espíritu se lo sabe que tiene chungo, se lo sabe, no va a lanzar el hit así como así. Y aquí el espíritu muy bien, ha podido bloquear el palet, se ha metido dentro. Y aquí debe estar a buscar más rápidos reflejos, tirando el palet y estuneándola y yéndose a otro sitio. Pero igualmente estunear al espíritu no sirve de mucho, porque luego tiene el poder y va detrás tuyo y te coge, ¿vale? Porque es muy rápida, más con el lado amarillo que lleva. Pero aquí Oscar podría haberlo hecho bastante mejor, pero en fin. Es complicado jugar, es complicado. Lleva esta perk, la de eso, creo que sales del gancho con un 70% de barra curada.
Facing himself tunneled out, doesn't use 2 pallets. He has the nerves of steel. Unfortunately, the DH is not going to save him. Spoker, maybe a little bit more safety would have granted extra seconds, yet
Muy bien de motores, se le van a hacer 4 motores a cambio del túnel.
this was a very wonderful chase here.
That dead hard, instead of going for the pallet drops, like it was nearly so perfectly timed, and if Oscar did get that dead hard off, that would be such a really nice tag, by the way.
Ahora debería jugar a Osluguear, a ser posible.
That would have been such a huge resource to be used as opposed to those pallets for Calamity, as you still have those 2 pallets to go back to after popping the dead hard. So that was obviously the play that Calamity was going for a bit of a gamble as opposed to playing it safe, which we love to see, but the gamble did not pay off, and we are in the 3v1 with Eruption now going to be coming into play as the Ruin has been cleansed. And yeah, it's just going to be a real feels nice game for our Spirit here as we find these last couple of survivors and defend an area, I believe around main building, where we saw a lot of our gens. We find Hein, who we know doesn't have sprint burst. This will be a free tag for Nico as the chase goes back towards the main building, which is near where a decent...
Va a ir a por ella porque tiene el motor ese que está con erupción anterior y el otro no lo tiene, pero sabe que ese motor está al 0%, así que no se preocupa, va a hacer este
the
juego.
amount of the generators are, so Nico's very happy with this, I would assume.
Absolutely, you gladly take this. It's going
Muy bien leído por Neko.
to be Hein on the floor here. Confident faces now, though. You can tell that Grim Pantry was not just an off-meta pick where it's unexpected to play the Spirit on. They were really prepared here, knowing exactly if the survivors are also going to mind game the window or actually going for the vault here. Nice read there. Neko now going for the slug. This is showing us, though, that Calamity does
Se ha escondido de puta madre.
have significant pressure on the survivor side. Our killer would like to find the survivor that is staying nearby. In the meanwhile, we already have the pickup. An organized and efficient Calamity here with good callouts as well. Rocket has taken quite some distance from the generator that he was working on. All the
Aquí Neko debería hacer caso un poquito más y lanzar el poder para llegar bien al motor con el poder y pillar a Rocket en un mal sitio. Pero lo ha tirado demasiado antes, no llega.
way to the edge of the map here. If they keep
Si tuviese el lado en amarillo de distancia sí que llega, pero con el lado en verde no llega.
playing like this, we are in this typical scenario where you are asking yourself as a killer,
Ay, yo lo he visto por aquí, ¿no?
what am I supposed to do when they are keeping this up?
Lo he visto ahí,
Yourself
creo.
as a killer,
O he flipado, no sé.
keep playing like this. We are in this typical scenario where you are asking yourself as a killer, what am I supposed to
he
do
flipado,
when
he flipado.
Up on the top of main building? I may be crazy, but I'm pretty sure we saw Rocket walking at the end of the dock and yeah, moving behind this bit of wood here. Rocket's going to be safe for a bit longer, and the gen split is actually completely opposite of what I was saying. There's 3 gens over by the shack side with 1 by the main building side, so still a really nice split for Calamity, and they're taking their chases to the exact right spot, trying to get those slugs on the main side, but the gens are really
Tiene que encontrar a Enlace si quiere, bueno, o al David si quiere llevarse la partida.
not as far away as you think.
Diría
Grim
más
Pantry
Enlace.
is a deceptively small map.
Vale, Hein se tira solo para curarse entero.
What? Absolutely, yeah. Grim Pantry does have this advantage for the killer towards the later part of the game, right? I think this is also why Neko is trying to go for the slug here multiple times now. We see it just again, Hein staying on the floor, trying to find Rocket and Obi here, though the communication of Calamity being really clean.
Muy buena comunicación,
Still knowing exactly where the Spirit is, where's she heading, which area is she approaching. This time we must have spotted the survivor that went around the corner there of the little house, and I do think that should be the face right there. Yeah, Hein though fully healed once again. Calamity not allowing slug and additional injuries. if something is happening on the one side, they are immediately going to balance it out on
Lo están haciendo muy bien los supervivientes.
the other side, and this is,
Muy bien.
I think, the biggest challenge for our killer right here before the gens
¿Dónde estaba el David, sabes?
are eventually going to pop.
Yeah, that was plot twist, sorry, that we saw on Hein. And these pallets that we saved from earlier are going to come in handy for Obi, as he's going to take the tag and keep wrapping around and get as far to the edge map as possible here. Beautiful stuff from Obi, but Rocket and Hein positioned on the other side of the map, I would assume. Get the gen stun. We actually can be committing to the down onto Obi here over in the edge map. This could be some valuable progress onto that gen by the docks and potentially by the small pantry as well, as I like to call it.
Este mapa es tan grande que haces esto y es una buena jugada realmente.
But if we go for the pick here as well, that's going to be Deliverance, and if we leave him slugs, that's going to be Unbreakable. So the perfect survivor to be getting found here. Almost intentional, you would even think, that Obi was the one getting spotted here, and we're not going to be able to phase back to the docks in time to stop that gen. So we're opting to go for the small pantry instead. There's the deli, there's Hein pre-running away as we go over towards the shack, and the dock gen is getting completed, waiting for that eruption.
Está la erupción, obviamente.
Yeah, it's rough now for our killer. Almost feeling bad here. You're facing the survivor perks perfectly, falling into the game plan, you could say, with Obi hopping off the hook here. The other two survivors still healthy, running early. You mentioned it, not even having the time at this point anymore. So you're forced to make a decision. What can I defend and where is it too late? We switch that from the...
Vale, esto es hit porque está, este generador es free hit gratis. O sea, free... Madre mía. Borja y su vocabulario, free hit.
Mid-game, it felt like Neko could still decide which target do I want to go for. This has completely changed now. Calamity is deciding what's happening on the Grim Pantry, and Neko needs to go for another stage onto Obi here as quick as possible. A little bit of eruption coming in there in the distance, but it might be the full generator, especially if they are teaming up in the distance. Of course, then plan for the end game, getting a fresh survivor.
Qué raro que no hayan venido aquí dos a reparar.
Trying to get 3 additional stages. It would bump you up all the way to 8, which I guess is a result you can live with. Yet, Kitchaze
Creo que no se lo hace.
needs a little bit more than this is what I can live with here today.
Now we're going to be seeing this gen isn't going to quite be getting ready to pop here, as eruption is going to be reapplied as Hein pre-running it the perfect direction. Nika trying to go for the cutoff and should be able to get the tag here. Very quick and aggressive unhook though from Rocket, who we saw was pre-posturing for that save. But this is scary territory right here, as Hein has to take the chase to the most active gen on the map. Even though the gen split is so great, that time loss from having to take the chase here is potentially going to cripple Calamity here a bit, as Hein is playing this TL really, really well. You've got to take the ping into account. It is not easy to play a TL, even against the Spirit, on this ping, as we go over to the shack, dropping into basement, trying to force
Casi se la lía,
down in the basement, but no, going back to the window. But the gen
Casi se la lía, muy bien jugada de genio.
on the other side of the map gets completed, putting us into the end game. And look at those doors.
Bueno, 3 primeros cuelgues, está bien.
Yeah, that's very far distance for our killer here. Feeling a little bit bad once again. They will definitely be able to go for the escape if needed. Good though that we have Hein here. Now comes the decision for Calamity, as for every team that still has a fresh hook and the potential trade for a 2-hooked survivor. Are we going to take extra risk? We've seen in the previous week
Pues se ha hecho 3...
that cannot
3 y 3, 6, 8 cuelgues. Está bien, la verdad, está bien. Pero creo que es mejorable. Pero lo han jugado muy bien los 3 supervivientes, quitando a Oscar, que ha muerto primero. Heinobi y Rocket han jugado muy bien esos 4 motores, la verdad. Muy bien, con muy buena comunicación. Y pues han ganado. Vale, vamos a las perks. Vale, ahí están las perks. Aquí estaba la de tirarse al suelo. Joder, tiene para curarse 2 veces con esto. Y con el botiquín, claro, es que Oscar ha dejado el botiquín en el suelo, pues lo ha cogido Ada para usarlo, obviamente. Bien, caída equilibrada, sobre tal. Muy buenas perks, pero ninguna para reparar. Ninguna. Bueno, sí, es cierto, aquí tenía pasión. Pasión te vale para reparar más rápido. Que hace muy buena consonancia con espíritu interior. Espíritu interior o curación interior, no me acuerdo. Pero bueno, la per que te haces todo y te curas en un armario. Vale, y ahora vamos con Obi, con espíritu. Esta skin es la de los pros de espíritu. En plan, esta skin se ponen los pros de espíritu porque van a dar hostias a triple. Vale, mismos addons. Cambia la build, interesante. Se ha puesto favor de sangre e inmortal para proteger su favor de sangre en vez de runa. Y va con hechos flagrantes y erupción. Me gusta más esta build, la verdad. Es de más hijo de puta, la verdad. Así que me gusta. Y de estos supervivientes, no conozco a nadie. A nadie directamente. Es que como es un equipo nuevo, no son poco conocidos, pero solamente serán 4 muy buenos, Así que nada, vamos a ver qué tal.
All right, welcome back, legends, as we see the second match of the first set where we see Calamity on the killer side here, none other than Obi on the Spirit. And look at this build. I was looking at it as we were loading in, and it's almost as if Calamity had made some sort of preparation for being on Grim Pantry if it was ever a possibility, because Undying with Blood Favor is such an aggressive chase build which can shut down some of the really strong pallets that you see on Grim Pantry. So I'm curious to see how this is going to play out for Obi.
Habéis visto, sale y hostia, es que lo tiene muy claro.
And what a good read there.
Yeah, this is exactly how you want to start things off, when the win condition is already something that can give you comfort when you are a very experienced Spirit. Again, as a reminder, we need 9
Vale, muy complicado de jugar contra Espíritu Invisible, muy complicado.
stages on 3 survivors, which is essentially 3 kills here. 8 stages on 4 survivors would also be the win. Rastomau is already going on to the hook. We have 40% on the generator over here. Ace just reaching the generator now, also showing us how quick the Spirit was and how good Obi started into this trial. The Undying has been removed. We're saying goodbye to that, but besides that, with the Blood Favor here, the Eruption, Pain, Resonance, like a very interesting build. Obi definitely not going to joke around, and now trying to reach the same that we have seen on the side of Kitchaze beforehand, trying to mix a little bit, defending the hook, staying close by, and locating survivors that are working on the generators, looking really strong so far.
We did see Adam running around at the docks at the bottom here, but I think Obi is more worried about our survivor going into the save here, which is going to be a Hanado Akopon, I believe. I don't really want to butcher anyone's names. I want to treat our Japanese guests as well as we can. But the Trace is going straight back onto Rastomau on the main building, which is notably a very strong point.
No puedes hacer nada. Cuando estás seguido contra Espíritu no puedes hacer una puta mierda. O sea, Espíritu diría que es el mejor tuneador del juego, prácticamente el mejor. O sea, pasa tiempo prestado y es que el túnel es free.
Taking the chase, we're doing all the right
Y
things.
encima nadie te puede proteger porque ella traspasa las cosas, se pone en tu culo y adiós.
But Obi is just proving his talents here and getting that second down at a ridiculous pace.
Yeah, he's really not joking around. Second hook stage already. Same strategy as in the previous trial. Cutting the survivor team down to 3 individuals as quick as possible. With the difference, though, that the first generator only comes out now, where we have round about 60 seconds left until the elimination is coming through. Obi would even have the time to go back towards the hook stage, camping the survivor to death. Even then, we would still have a few generators trying to go for an ambitious swing here, as expecting that the survivor was still on the docks, though Kitchaze's communication is on point as Calamities in the previous trial. They are aware when the Spirit is moving here, taking quite some distance. Next generator at the docks now immediately being jumped on again, 25% over here, so Kitchaze definitely aware that we need some pressure onto the generators here, and that some pressure is needed. The only thing I'm worried about is if this Rastomau is not having a long mid-game chase after being on
Vale, pues ese es normal que estaba ahí.
hook now.
But we do see the sprint burst coming out, though, which will at least make it a bit easier to get to where we need to go at the main building here. But I'm really worried for Rastomau here. We do still have the Blood Favor in play, and we get that tag through the window.
Madre mía, el Rasta partida de 12 estrellas.
No pallet save possible at all, and that elimination is just going to be confirmed already with about...
El Rasta parece rango 20, sí, estoy con vosotros, parece rango 20, pero es que tampoco ha podido hacer nada. O sea, os invito a cualquiera de vosotros a intentar hacer algo contra un espíritu que es muy buena, está herido. Duráis un viaje, a no ser que tengáis un God Palette o algo así que podéis aguantar un poco más, Es muy jodido.
2.5 gens
Y este mapa, ya os digo, es a favor del espíritu.
to go. Blood Favor finally getting removed from the trial. Didn't really come into play as much as Obi would hope. And I think the most interesting part about Obi's build here is obviously not bringing the Corrupt. And I think Grim Pantry is one of those maps where you can really take advantage of not bringing in Corrupt when you're running stuff like Eruption and Pain Resonance, and just being able to get value out of these pokes. It's so nice to see.
Absolutely, yeah, and I mean the Corrupt Intervention can also create some very unfortunate spawns on this map, which is a second reason why you might not really want to rely onto this. And in
Aquí me lo ha hecho súper bien, ya no se le ve.
best case, as powerful as the Spirit is, and when you have the skill of Obi, obviously, you get the first down after 25 to 30 seconds, which would completely eliminate the sense of bringing Corrupt here.
Nosotros no escuchamos las pisadas como la escucha la espíritu, ¿vale? La espíritu lo escucha mucho mejor que nosotros. En plan, a lo mejor vosotros estáis diciendo, joder, ¿qué cojones, tío? No estoy escuchando la pisada ni la respiración, pero sin embargo el espíritu está dando hostias a Coscoporro. Es porque ella lo escucha mucho mejor. Y si tiene puesta cositas, ¿vale? Para, digamos... Tienen programas, no todas las espíritus lo estoy diciendo, ni digo que lo tenga Obi, digo que se puede tener y puede que lo tenga, pero vale, hay programitas que el sonido del juego te lo baja mucho, ¿vale? Mucho. Y te sube, por ejemplo, el sonido de la pisada, el sonido de los gruñidos de dolor, ¿vale? Y te quita el sonido de la música por completo, y cuando pasa eso, digamos que el espíritu es una puta locura, ¿vale? No digo que Obi lo tenga, ¿vale? Digo que se puede tener, para que lo sepáis, ¿vale?
As you're then just going to play with 3
Se llama ecualizador, ¿vale? Para que lo sepáis.
perks. Makopo is going to be the next chase here, trying to drag Obi towards the outside of the Grim Pantry, away from...
Y no se considera hack. Es una ayuda muy grande, pero no es un hack, ¿vale? Pero sí que es una ayuda muy grande exclusivamente para el espíritu, ¿vale? Para esto aquí les da un poco igual, pero bueno, para enfermedad también se dirige mucho por el oído, pero sobre todo para el espíritu. Un segundo, chicos. Vale, que me han traído una cartita. Vamos para allá.
From the generators.
Por eso, que no se considera hack, es una ayuda muy grande a los espíritus.
Trying to waste time, nice circle right there, able to dodge the attack, but afterwards not reaching the pallet in time. Unfortunate though, he would have definitely deserved that after such a wonderful juke. Hook
Están preparando muy bien, los de Kizun.
stage number 4.
Kizun, madre mía, Kitchaze.
Generator number 4 is not going to happen in case we have a pain res hook in reach. That should be a good significant chunk onto this
¿Qué pasa?
generator. We have the wiggle off.
Buah, esto es cagada gigante, No sé qué ha pasado, pero... Ah, el gancho flagelante. Querría llegar al gancho flagelante y no ha llegado, supongo. Uf, pues esto es un error gigante, Que si no llegas al gancho flagelante tienes dudas, mejor un gancho rojo y ya luego colgas el gancho flagelante, pero no habrá llegado y se le ha ido al suelo. Uf, esto es una cagada muy grande.
In the distance, as Obi was a little bit too greedy. We just talked about it. There would be a pain res hook needed to go for this generator punishment, and this caused Obi to absolutely overextend the carrion towards this hook. Nice move by Kitchaze. Now also with the healthy Adam in the next chase, who can take 2 tags. This is a chance for a comeback.
Muy bien.
I think the really nice thing we saw about that play right there is we actually, I believe, saw either a saboteur coming into play on that pain res hook, knowing that Obi was going for it. The communication that happened there between the teammates to allow that to happen and take a chance onto another healthy survivor as our other survivors are resetting. So this isn't the worst position for Kitchaze right now, as they could get those resets out, get back to attacking the gens, and the split isn't great, but it could be doable. Obviously, Eruption gonna make it so
Voy a tener la partida ganada seguramente, los de Kitchaze.
so painful, as well as all 3 stacks of pain res being available on each of our survivors. So Obi is not fussed who he goes for here.
Que viene Enlace.
And that's going to be another ambitious.
Madre mía, qué reventada acaba de pegar ahora. Madre mía, le ha hecho... Uf, madre mía. Le ha hecho un reverse de cojones.
Cell is going to take the stun.
Por cierto, si están escuchando intervenciones en el micrófono, que sepáis que esta semana voy a comprarme un micro nuevo decente y que sepáis que eso ya se va a dejar de escuchar, ¿vale? Y pido perdón. obviamente.
Right here, almost being caught, but a few centimeters missing here. Rizal is going to take the mind game. Volt coming out, but Spirit has already turned back towards the shack here, guarding the generators, trying to stop what's possible here. One generator remaining. Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you, 9 stages, which equals 3 kills, alternatively 8 stages on all 4 individual survivors is the win condition. It looked very strong in the early game, though Spoka...
Esto es lo malo del mapa para el killer, que hay muchos sitios para esconderse. Entonces es complicado encontrar supervivientes.
Kitchaze has turned out to be very coordinated on the Grim Pantry. They know their home map, we could say here, since they picked it by heart. This generator over here has a good amount of pressure. Survivors are gone. Never mind. I cast a curse to hide and seek on this survivor over here, but it looks very, very promising here. And if Macapon is going to take a long chase here, they might be ready for endgame with a chance to win this.
This urban evasion is coming in so
the
clutch against these dangerous faces from Oni. The tag take... OB, sorry, I meant to say OB, not Oni. But Macopod doing an amazing job and using the overcome to just go all the way into the corner. Got that urban as well to be a little bit more sneaky. We do get the down though, but it's on the complete other side of where the final gen is getting doubled.
Ya no llega, obviamente ni de coña.
We'll have a look and see what the progress is at. They're going to be getting it done. Are they going to be able to get enough stages out the door to take the win in this first set?
Yeah, that would be one of the best stories of a comeback already again here. Kitchaze, who was already making stories about ups and downs and comebacks and second chances last week, is proving us again. But the question is there, how many stages can you take out
Como vaya a la puerta, cuidado.
of the door? That's the next one. Going down right here, and if Macopon and Rizal are going
Que se hace 4K al final de partida.
to die on hook, that would be the 9 stages
La ha visto, 4K.
that are enough to make it happen for Calamity here. So
Pues 4K, chavales. Madre mía.
Adam needs
Aquí los supervivientes, cagada muy grande, muy grande.
to pick up the team members, though he is being found now.
Yo aquí, creo que la cagada ha sido que el herido no vaya a la puerta. Si el herido va a la puerta, el que está sano puede ir a curar a Macopon, que es el primero que cayó, y más o menos se puede intentar. Y sobre todo ir a la puerta que está justo al lado del motor, en plan, es muy obvio, en plan, has hecho este motor y te vas a la puerta más cercana, es súper obvio para el espíritu. Y se ha escondido muy mal, obviamente se escondió muy mal sitio, se escondió en un arbolito súper estrecho. Para mí todas esas decisiones hacen que 4K.
Now a balanced landing remains. He can hopefully make it over towards the team member, but he picks the distant one as he's expecting that the spirit is coming out of the face, but not enough distance and time at all here. Instead, you're forced to mind game around this drop pallet, and I think Obi is going to take that very, very happily. You can lock down the survivor over here. That's going to be the down right there. And
Inquebrantable aparte lo tenía él. Qué putada que el inquebrantable lo tenga él, porque si hay un inquebrantable por aquí, pues se puede la partida igualar, pero vamos.
That is going to seal the deal.
What an amazing Obi himself
Pues ya os digo, no hay
to take
liberación.
the win here. This pain res book that never actually got to come into play, and this pain res really gotten the 4K acquired.
Ahí está el Macopon con liberación. Aquí lo ha hecho mal el killer. Yo si hubiese sido el killer habría matado primero a este y luego a este y luego Macopon, porque Macopon es el que ha rescatado, entonces siempre que rescatas que tiene liberación. Eso es vamos, muy fácil adivinarlo. Pero bueno, a ver cómo rescate.
I'm almost at a loss for words. This was such an amazing.
No va a rescatar, ¿vale? Porque tiene tiempo prestado, ¿vale? Pero en cuanto toca al superviviente, el tiempo prestado se le quita. Así que no va a poder hacer nada.
Amazing trial and the deliverance coming out as well. We've got to remember that's still in play, but I don't think there's anything possible for Macapon to do here. As soon as that VT runs out, you can't go for the unhook, you can't do anything. It's just.
Claro, no puede hacer nada. Vale.
Have to get the 3 here today, and then yeah. In Season 9, the difference.
Pues ya os digo, no se merecía nada el killer, la verdad, porque ha jugado peor que el otro. Y mirar que Calamity en teoría es mejor equipo. pero la cagada que han hecho al final ha sido... Es el problema de este nivel. Haces un error grande y te lo castiga mucho el rival. Por eso no puedes hacer una cagada así al final de la partida. Que el herido no vaya a la puerta y que el sano se ponga a abrirla, el otro caiga, en plan, porque el espíritu te ha visto y el otro se ha escondido muy mal. Demasiados errores graves que obviamente el espíritu ha castigado de muy buena manera. La verdad que inmerecida derrota, pero bueno, ahí al final no puedes liarla de esa manera, de verdad, no puedes liarla de esa manera. Pero bueno, me ateneaste por los demás. Qué putada, la verdad que esta no se puede usar en la partida, porque ha sido el tuneleado el mismo. La verdad, aquí el Adam hubiese tenido que buscar en la primera chase con esta build. Sinceramente, un golpe decisivo tal. Pero bueno, es lo que hay. Vale, pues siguiente partida, Artista. Obi también con Artista. Va con el... vale, esto es el mapa que se divide en dos. Este mapa es bueno contra el Artista, la verdad. Es bueno contra el Artista, o sea... Tiene muchos armarios para quitarte los cuervos. La zona central está bastante bien. Te puedes defender. Pese a que se queden en trigen, que es lo normal en este tipo de mapa, quedarte en un trigen solo en un lado. Bueno, si los supervivientes te juegan bien, puedes hacer buenas jugadas como superviviente. Vale, lleva los 4 cuervecitos. Aquí vemos el addon y el addon de las manos, que para mí es el mejor que tiene el artista, el mejor de todos literalmente, que hace que los cuervos se vayan a, si están pegados, se dividan hasta que te cagas. Va con barbacoa, que interesante. Hace mucho que no veía barbacoa en competitivo, la verdad. A mí me gusta más con un artista temblores trepidantes. Pienso que es mejor que barbacoa y chile, pero bueno, barbacoa y chile, el problema es que va por metros y temas trepidantes no. Lo malo que temas trepidantes es que no te da auras. Sabes en qué motos están haciendo, pero ya está. Pero bueno, gancho flagelantes, 2 retumbante, muy buena perk, erupción muy buena perk y agitación muy buena perk para poder llevar al superviviente a una esquina y zonearlo a tope. Vale.
Welcome back on ARP for the artist. I saw a few Jimbos earlier in the chat saying that Calamity is boring and would pick the Rakkus Yard. No, indeed, they are picking something different. ARP, an interesting map of the Outer Heaven. It is divided in basically
Muy mal aquí el superviviente.
tiles or 2 halves. You could say the top side where we are at the moment with the main building and the bottom side with the shack, and in between it's sometimes difficult to maneuver from one side to the other if the killer has a nice hook stage and decides to camp the choke.
No debería proteger a su compañero tan rápido al inicio de partida, porque esto luego el Macopón se tiene que curar, tal, y tampoco vas a hacer que Rizel llegue muy lejos porque tiene los 4 cuervos. Para mí esta protección no merece la pena.
2 survivors are going to take injuries early on. Rizel has the crows as well. Received a
Ahí falló los cuervos.
little bit of support here, and it seems like the injury onto Makopon was worth it, as Rizel is now getting rid of the crows and making more distance towards the top side again. He has some very, very valuable tiles that he can play around here, though Obi is successfully cutting off this window, meaning that it's going to be the hit with the crows, and after that it should be either the M1.
Hay que poner 3 cuervos, no puede hacer un superviviente, se tiene que ir de la zona, que yo os he dicho que eso hay que hacerlo mucho con el artista. Que no quieres que se vayan hacia la derecha, pon cuervos hacia la derecha para que su superviviente orientarlo hacia la izquierda. Que no quieres que se vaya para la izquierda, pones cuervos hacia la izquierda para orientar su superviviente hacia la derecha, ¿vale? Es justo lo que va a hacer Obi y obviamente pues M1 irá solo.
As the survivor is forced to make another move. Great first down, 50% on the generator over here. One survivor is busy with the
Artista es un killer muy opresivo, pero es difícil de jugarla bien, ¿eh? También os digo, bastante difícil.
Self-care, so you got a good amount of pressure as well here with injuring that survivor early on.
That was the med kit heal that we're seeing, but the only reason I say this is because it's been a meta in Southeast Asian regions where self-care botany or self-care with other heal perks has been quite a strong meta. Now, obviously, with the artist, the balancing would be a bit more restricted, but we do see someone running self-care. The last survivor just looking at is bringing that in. They do love self-care, and honestly, they make it work, and it's really, really interesting to see. More notably, we've seen it adopt into somewhat of the meta in blight sets in season 9, if I'm not mistaken. Teams are opting for that self-care pick, which is really
Muy
cool
buena
to
ahí.
see. But Crow's going on to back up on
¿Veis? Esta es buena, tiene muchas taquillas, es muy difícil de hacer snipe.
working a gen on the top side, and as Rizel is getting a really unfortunate special treatment here as we sit up on the hill next to the hook. This hill positioning as well, perfect to be able to continue that pressure onto Macapon. And we also have ability here on the top side as well. That's Rastamal going in for the sprint burst, going in for the trade, but Obi was going to set up Crows,
Intercambio.
gets the tag, which is going to force it into a trade.
Aquí Cuervos.
It's a very nice move by Obi here, and it's not even enough for now because
Aquí no sé por qué el artista no ha metido los Cuervos, sinceramente. Se puede haber metido y que ya quedase con ellos puestos.
after having Rastamau on the floor, you want to go after the survivor that was just unhooked. Same strategy as in the previous set. We want to cut the survivor team down to 3 as quick as possible, though the life that was taken there in the midsection has given some distance and therefore some time.
Qué buena, muy buena ahí.
I'm dropping the pallet, though not able to remove the crows in time. Attack already coming through. Second hook stage, one survivor trying to get the second generator out of the
Qué raro que el de liberación no tengan quebrantables, sinceramente.
way, though we are leaving the survivor on the floor. Understandable decision, since it's going to be the deliverance that is coming in clutch, so it's not needed that you are going for the pickup right there, so the survivor can jump off the hook instead. And putting the... Oh, they actually got him in time then. So you have the deliverance good to go. You don't have a slug anymore. You have 2 generators fairly progressed. Kitchaze is definitely not
Habéis visto sus Cuervos apuntando justo a la CLL, muy buenos. Solo que aquí el subiendo obviamente no es retrasado.
sleeping.
Yeah, they're doing all the right things here and setting up this mid game nicely, but this is looking like it's going to be another trade, or at least a very delayed trade, as Obi is setting up some crows around this hook here, and we're going to need to really fight to keep Rizel alive in this trial here with no escape from this part of the map with this crow setup. We're going to see the down coming through though, but Obi is not
Qué buena.
going to take it. Does take it though
Qué
with the
buena.
crows around the corner. We're going to be greeting the pallet, but Obi piles it really well
Muy mal jugado aquí Rizel. Rizel la verdad que la chase es bastante malilla, ¿sabes? Sinceramente.
along the outside,
¿Que es difícil chasear contra artista? Sí, pero puede haberlo hecho mejor, la verdad.
and does end up getting that
No
down
ha calculado nada bien las distancias.
onto Rizel, but gens number 2 and 3 have been completed in the distance.
Y el artista muy bien jugado, por cierto, muy bien jugado los Cuervos en esta protección de IQ, KX, en fin, es que vaya Nix que se me pone la gente.
Kitchaze always, I feel like, in a little bit of an imbalance. On the one hand, you have this great efficiency when we are talking about the generators. On the other hand, I feel like they are not able to really put a dominant factor of pressure onto the killer. They are still then having the situations where the early elimination is coming through, where they have an additional slug on the floor they need to take care of. So on the one hand, you have a lot going for them, but I always feel like then there comes this handbrake factor where they are not able to give 100% into it because they have a to-do list.
Ese es muy difícil que de sus Cuervos porque están muy lejos. El Survey los va a evitar.
Base of the killer, and this is the same right here. Obi with some injuries and some downs, able to keep them under control, even though they are making a nice attempt here on being quick onto the generators. And so far, I feel like in the previous trial we've seen it as well. Obi seems to be in control here.
Using the lineup of these generators so well to be able to pressure both of them at the same time, while we stay by the hook here with another 2 gens on the bottom side of the ARP. Now, normally a 2-2 gen split would be pretty devastating for our killer to have to put up with, but the artist just has that ability to be able to pressure and get info from 2 gens at once if they're positioned correctly. Macapon going for a really, really risky save here, trying not to get spotted, but might have gotten spotted out there because of the ping. But instead, we're going to be going for the body block. The second stage should be coming through. Macapon needs to squeeze through. But Obi says,
Qué buena el killer, muy bien el killer, muy bien, impresionante, esos body blocks.
no, door stuck, and the second stage is gonna come through as we take a chase over towards the shack now, with Rastamal doing the gen on the top side of the map to at least get one more done.
Aquí está muerto.
And now there's going to be
Ahí yo habría puesto un cuervo y ahí lo elimino.
the next injury onto Makopon, who now has to make a next turn over here. Will he reach the hook in time? The answer is yes, but he might not make it.
Y encima dejas el compañero con los cuervos gracias al addon morado.
Further than that, it's going to be another trade. So Kitchaze is circling between the hook stages right here. The generator pressure therefore significantly reduced, and that's
Buah, ya he visto el otro vídeo.
going to be the
4K.
next down, and immediately rotating Spoker. I think this is coming to an end.
But we can't forget we do have the unbreakable onto
Inquebrantable del compañero.
I can't remember. It was the Hanado. It was Makopon who has the unbreakable and is going to be popping that now and probably going back for the pickup on us.
Ha fallado Lul, que viene ahí Rasta muy bien ahí.
Slug as we miss the shotgun onto Rastamel. This is really, really bad for Obi, who now has to go back and have probably
Qué pena porque lo ha hecho muy bien Obi.
almost all 3 survivors up. If
Probablemente las perks también juegan.
not a potential pallet save coming into play, they make the pickup in time and rotate back over towards the top side. The 7 hands could be a bit tricky here, but our survivors are splitting up well enough to dodge that. We need to dodge a shotgun, moves to the left a bit, and there it is, the dodge going over towards the main building might make the window.
Muy bien el IQ este.
The medium vault, and
Muy
he
bien.
makes it.
Y aquí también Obi le ha liado un poco metiendo sus cuervos, la verdad.
Is this the big comeback for Kitchaze once more on the Grim Pantry? We have seen it happening, and now circling around this again,
Brutal IQ.
trying for the mind game here on the
Brutal IQ.
pallet. It does work out. Longer run, and instantly we see it right here. Self-care botany coming clutch again. As Spoker pointed out earlier, very traditional combination in the Japanese comp scene. A lot of players are running it, a lot of players are opting to go for the reset with this combination, and it seems to help so far. It is incredible though how they are making it back here, because Spoker, that really looked like close to the 4K the other moment, but I guess Kitchaze should never be underestimated.
Oh, never at all. Just because they're the underdogs in this fight does not mean they are out of the fight. They're doing a really, really impressive job playing in this 3v1 and trying to get that last generator completed. The gen split is quite tragic, however, though. We're opting for these resets first, as it does get spotted out, but it's alright because we have Deliverance on Rastamau, which we actually had a little joke about earlier, where we were talking about how poor Rastamau is always the first survivor from Kitchaze who's getting tunneled out, but not this time. And we have that Deliverance ready to go, so not quite a
Qué putada, la tenían ganada y ya la tienen muy jodida ahora. Qué putada, la verdad.
need to go for the reset on our LED just yet, as our other survivors are both healthy and ready to start pressuring these gens. But Obi has such a dominant position with being able to stand in the middle of them and send out crows, setting up a bit of a slingshot, but I think just in time actually we will be able to get all 4 crows lined up on the gen. Nice.
Obi now in the chase with our Adam. Again, we have seen him multiple times, and we have seen that he is quite a juicer when it comes to taking chases with the artist. Definitely a very confident runner here on the roster of Kitchaze. Makes it over towards the truck that we have here, and then Obi has to let him go. Never mind, that's the injury.
Toma, pues pavela por corretearme.
Right there, saying, well, you might have taken some distance and you might have taken some safety, but that doesn't mean that you're going to get away with it. Obi, therefore, knowing that he has a little bit of extra time earned for himself, though this one is unfortunately not going to hit our survivor. The door here is still not broken, meaning that the survivor has an advantage here when it comes to taking the distance, but then closer and closer towards the artist. Not sure. I think the survivor overlooked that
Con un poquito de suerte se lleva a 3, con un poquito de suerte, veremos.
Obi was just holding W there. Endgame in reach, that's for sure. 6 stages so far. Spoker, I still feel like it should have been a 4K.
Oh, 100%. It definitely could have been. The Unbreakable on Makopon, I believe, is what brought the game back for Kitchaze. And it looks like that there's going to be a 2-out happening here. The 7 hands, they're going to put the crows onto Makopon as well, who has to take the body, takes
Muy bien aquí, Mako Pong.
The hit
Muy bien.
for the Crows coming in.
Muy bien, Mako Pong cubriendo con los cuervos a su compañero. Muy bien hecho aquí. Muy bien, el herido a la puerta y el que estaba sano a proteger. Justo lo que tenía que haber hecho en la partida de espíritu. Justo. Lo mismo que en la partida de espíritu. O sea, en esta partida, haberlo hecho en la de espíritu. Pero bueno. Joder, qué puta por Obi. También el error que tuvo en la zona de main. Ahí ese error contra Reserve fue garrafal. Meter 4 cuervos y que otro se vaya por la izquierda y te meta el salto por la ventana. Ahí se le fue la partida tomada por culo. Porque aún, si lo hubiese tirado, todavía puede hacer cosas contra 2 supervivientes. Pero haber fallado ahí ya. Adiós la partida completamente. Inquebrantable. Ahí es que el inquebrantable está muy fuerte. Si tienes algo de suerte usándolo. Vale, ¿cuántos cuelgues ha hecho? Perdón, ahora se me dio la pinza. Se ha hecho 6, ¿verdad? Sí, se ha hecho 6 cuelgues. 2 primeros cuelgues, 6 cuelgues en total. Vale, vamos ahora con Neko. Va con los mismos addons, va con ruina, gancho flagelante, agitación, interrupción corrupta. A mí me gusta más esta build, la verdad.
Legends to a really deciding second half of the second set, where we're going to think Neko once again our killer for Kitchaze on the Azarov resting place, as we're going to be going up against our same survivor roster as before, except we've got El Marco in place instead of Obi on the survivor side, as Obi was our killer. I did a pretty decent job on the killer side, but 6
Muy bien, Marco aquí.
stages with 2 kills is definitely something that I feel like Kitchaze can play.
Como ha dado su tercer cuervo, no le da tiempo a recargar, ¿vale? Cuantos más cuervos tira el artista, que lo sepáis, la recarga es mayor, ¿vale? No es lo mismo tirar un cuervo, que la recarga es rápida, que tirar 3 o 4 cuervos, que la recarga es muy lenta. Entonces ahora le da tiempo de sobra quitárselos y llegar al pallet.
Playful as we take this first chase onto El Marco, proving his worth, greeting the pallet but taking the tag regardless.
Yo creo que aquí debería haber tirado bueno, a lo mejor no, porque si lo malo de tirar el palet es que se resetea lo de quitarte los cuervos. Y entonces aquí te mete cuervos y lo normal es que te dé. Entonces, creo que ha hecho bien. Creo que ha hecho bien llevándose el hit, porque se ha quitado los cuervos a cambio.
Get the crows off and delay this chase, take it back
Entonces, creo que ha hecho bien, la verdad.
to the corrupt side of the match, which we will be seeing corrupt coming into play this game as opposed to last game. I don't think we saw it.
I really hope that they are getting their 7 stages together here, Spoker. Alternatively, 6 stages on 3 individual survivors. Kitchaze deserves the tiebreaker. They don't deserve to take a 2-0 right here.
No puedo hacer nada, literalmente nada.
They were fighting too strong. This match is too important for that. And already we are going to see the first down in exchange for the first generator, but it is a trip.
Qué raro 3 supervivientes en un mismo motor en competitivo. Es muy raro, la verdad. Me imagino que habrán ido los 3 al medio para partir el mapa en 2 directamente, porque si no, no tiene sentido. Ya es raro de por sí ver a 2 supervivientes, normalmente reparan de 1 en 1, ¿vale? Para sumar puntuaje a la partida, pero 3 en un motor es muy raro verlo.
Up gen. Very understandable though. ARP, we mentioned it earlier, divided into this bottom and top half, where it can be very dangerous when the killer's holding the choke point between them. So you want to get this mid generator out of the way as quick as possible, which is something that they perfectly did here. Therefore, tripling it is understandable, and it's also a little bit of a mind factor, right? If you can say for yourself on the survivor side, we managed to take a generator out for the first hook stage, that always sounds pretty nice.
Qué pena.
Yeah, not getting that tag onto Hein is quite unfortunate, as the unhook from our Deliverance player, Oscar, is going to be coming through. Really nice greed at the pallet, though. It's so nice seeing our players going for these greedy plays on the 200 MS as we've established. It really is such a risky playstyle, but if you can pull off those risks, the reward is bountiful. As we're going to be putting some more pressure onto Hein once again, letting our tunneler get away a bit. Nico sort of more playing for the fresh hooks and maybe getting some pain res on the board to at least stop some of the gens from progressing more.
Hein brutal esquivando sus cuervos.
We would hope. I also saw that we saw distortion on our Deliverance player on Calamity Survivor side. And
ahí es hit y lo sabe superviviente, así que se va, hace muy bien, porque eso es hit sí o sí para el artista.
Yeah, we're not going to be
es un win-win básicamente.
Barbecue coming into play, which I believe Calamity was sort of expecting. If this ball should be
no, aquí muy mal cuervos de Neko.
Pro tag, but no, Hein manages to dodge it right at the end there.
Now it's going to be a little bit of pressure on the kid.
Aquí mal de Neconego otra vez. Tienes que poner aquí los cuervos así, chicos. Mirad. Aquí ponen los cuervos por aquí. Aquí, en plan, en línea recta para allá, ¿vale? O por el otro lado. Es indiferente, ¿vale? O por este o por este. Mejor por este, porque así el suplente está más encerrado. Lo encerráis allí, pum, cuervazos y luego M1. Puede caer el suplente literalmente en 5 segundos de persecución. De verdad, en 5 segundos. Yo he tirado muchos suplentes aquí en 5 segundos. O sea, tiras aquí cuervos, le impactas, porque no puede hacer nada el suplente, es un pasillo muy estrecho. Y cuando sale, hitazo. Y ya está. Bueno.
Though you probably get a little bit nervous because you really wanted the next hook stage
Otra vez ha fallado, está fallando mucho Neconego con artista.
far sooner than what we are seeing here at the moment. Hein now going for a great run, just as in the previous trial. These mid-game chases that are taking sometimes minutes from the killer, they can be super punishing. Hein moving on, holding W. We are in the southern side of the ARP now. We made it across the entire map.
Hace bien, ¿vale? En que caer en pared, porque si va hacia izquierda, al pozo.
In the pallet though, and we already see it. Marco being around for the rescue. No, it's Rocket.
Muy bien, perdón, Rocket, estando ahí.
Who is moving.
Y aquí el artista muy mal, ¿no? Haciendo... Te han hecho un motor, les has dado tiempo de sobra para que se ubiquen en el mapa. Es muy normal que esté uno cercano ahí, el killer muy mal, y ya con este error ha perdido la partida, literalmente.
Moving in here, very nice team play factor coming out now. Altruism going to strike, and that is horrible for Kitchaze's killer here.
Yeah, we've been talking about team play a lot for this matchup, and we've got Kitchaze and Calamity obviously have that team play factor. Really nice behind the take.
Muy bien aquí el superviviente acercándose al cuervo para comérselo y que no le puede impactar. Eso es un tip muy importante contra el artista, ¿vale? Cogerse el cuervo para vosotros para que nos pueda impactar. Y aquí el artista puede haber hecho mejor alejando el cuervo, ¿vale? Si el artista pone el cuervo al otro lado de la ventana, no puede, a no ser que salte. Pero aquí acerca el cuervo muchísimo y lo ha podido coger.
That crow there and Rocket coming in for the body block as well.
Madre mía, stun. Buah, la están follando el cuervo literalmente.
The pellet drop for this.
La artista ya está fuera de la partida completamente.
Done! Prolonging this chase even longer. We have 2 survivors actively working the gens as this chase is happening, and Calamity are really wanting to seal the deal here, and they're doing a really good job of it.
Now, is it going to be a hook stage before endgame? We always have to ask here, because Calamity is activating. Hein once again taking the crows. Generator number 4. And Hein is running. Hein is sprinting. Yeah, Hein is almost flying across the air.
Como la ayuden, ya verás tú qué jejillas.
ARP, next strike with the birds. Is he going to be able to move towards the next tile? This one is going to miss. Rocket coming in. Birds now being successfully moved away. So Hein is safe again. Has to rappel them again. Uses the locker in the shack real quick. Has enough time to do so. A quick vault on the shack or holding W are the alternatives. Hein is going to hold W again. Taking a safari across the ARP. Kitchaze's killer, who had a chance to watch every tile 3 or 4.
Qué bien juega Hein, Hein es que me encanta del equipo de Calamity, me encanta, para mí es el mejor, o sea, es brutal Hein, brutal, me encanta. Que este toque ha recibido ayuda de Rocket, es cierto, pero hostia, qué bien lo ha hecho Hein, que no es nada fácil hacer esto.
Stoppable Hein, eventually going down. Finally, we got.
El Rocket es un tóxico de cojones, tío, es un tóxico de cojones.
To say, and we see it again.
Pues ya está, 3 cuelgues y para casa.
Up in the distance.
Chase de 5 generadores, prácticamente os diría.
Into the end game, Calamity.
En competitivo, vaya tela.
Is unstoppable.
Oh my goodness. See guys, tripling gens is comp efficient, and it has been proven here today. Triple your gens. See? No, but on a real note though.
El killer en cuanto se come el palet, ahí ha perdido la partida, ¿vale? Que lo sepáis, chicos. O sea, luego ya que ha seguido la chaser con Hein, no habría cambiado nada. Porque en cuanto se come el palet, adiós la partida.
It's a pretty simple.
Porque si te cuesta mucho tirar a alguien y después de tirarlo te tiran te meten un stun, GG's.
Task here for Calamity to seal the deal here, as they just need to get at least what,
Es un
7
error muy
stages
grande,
out the
muy
door,
grande.
and we have a lot available. I believe Rocket is running self-care botany this time around, and that's the reason why we've been able to see so many hit tanks during the chase. Rocket playing for the pallet saves as well, just being Heinz's personal bodyguard in this match, as Oscar is taking this chase as far away as possible from the door. But even if Oscar were to get caught here and everyone else gets out, that is still the win for Calamity.
Yeah, this is just insane. I think we can learn a lot here, I would even say, from this match. Like, there's so much of perfect team play, perfect looping.
Les digo, Oscar, el que menos me ha gustado de todos de Calamity.
Perfect.
Vale.
Nico has...
It is just crazy.
Oh my goodness, I just realized that Oscar is unbreakable deliverance as well. So Nico has such an unfortunate endgame to have to play here, as our survivors are probably just going to be taking the 3 out with the 3 healthy survivors we have now. And we have Oscar, who could make a break for the exit gate with this deli. Might even have the team coming in for the bodies as well to make it.
3 primeros cuelgues. 1, 2 y 3, 5. Vale, ganaría, vale. Sería 2 y 5 aquí. Vale.
This could be a nice clean 4-man escape for Calamity to take that 2-0 victory, which is really unfortunate though, because Kitchaze has put on such an amazing performance that doesn't very accurately get reflected in a 2-0. But regardless, Calamity are probably going to be taking this here.
Yeah, and if everything is already going horrible, then on top of that you have deliverance on Oscar as well. So not even these 3 extra stages, and you could say, well, 5 stages to 6 stages, it was very close. No, even for this you have to fight so much. Oscar surviving this one here with a little juke. Unfortunately then too much, he's going to get grabbed. Hein is going to turn towards the exit gate as well, leaving. It was
Pues mira, ha perdido por un cuelgue, con la partida de tal, ha perdido por un cuelgue al final, o sea, 4 y 5.
Showing us that
por un cuelgue ha perdido. Si hubiese hecho un cuelgue más, habrían ganado, porque era 3 primeros cuelgues y 6, pues gana Kitchaze. Qué pena, 1-1. Pero os digo, partida, es cierto que parece que ha sido una paliza, pero al final eso, un cuelgue. Y en la partida de espíritu ha ganado Calamity por errores muy grandes en final de partida de los supervivientes. Así que, bueno, obviamente pues... Ah, no, era singularidad última. Dije lo desconocido, voy doblado. Era singularidad. Bueno, ya hemos visto 2-0 para Calamity. Pero os digo, muy igualado. Para ser Calamity uno de los mejores y Kitchaze uno de los que acaba de llegar, por así decirlo. Ostras, muy igualado. Es un 2-0. Pero ambos partidos Calamity los ha ganado por muy poco. Por muy poco. Perfectamente podría haber ganado los 2 partidos Kitchaze. Perfectamente. Pero bueno, lo ha hecho brutal, Hein. Brutal. O sea, se ha sacado la polla, la ha restregado por la mesa y se la ha sacudido bien en la cara al killer. Las cosas como son. Pero bueno, que eso. 2-0 para Calamity. Yo pensé que iba a haber mucha más diferencia, pero ha habido muy poquita. Entonces veremos a ver cómo prosiguen en el torneito. Nos vemos mañana con un videito de addons por el siguiente, que ya quedan muy poquitos. Y nada, nos vemos hasta mañana, chicos. Espero que hayáis tenido, que hayáis aprendido algo y os haya gustado el análisis. Chao.